So I'm Liam Bailey, musician from Nottingham. I'm a Londoner. Now I've been down here 15 years, so what does that make me? Either an idiot or a Londoner. When people ask me what my story is, I don't often know what to say. My story is quite simple really. I just love music, I love singing, I love the guitar, I love playing music, and I promised myself when I was a teenager that I wouldn't grow up and that I would stick to my guns and be a musician. And obviously in the real world it wasn't conducive for a stress-free life. You know what I mean? I was getting sacked a lot, I was quitting jobs a lot, I was ducking and diving, but you know, I was living the way I wanted to live and just putting the music first at all times. And then eventually I kind of lost my mojo in Nottingham, so I moved back to London. I moved down to London, where I was kind of just working in like pubs and that, and like clothes shops and that, cash in hand, you know what I mean, and just staying with it. But you know what? I feel like I'm alone a lot, so the hustle stays the same. So I've always felt like I stand alone. I don't know how that helps the question, but that's kind of what it is. My musical journey started next to my mum's vinyl LP player. And because I didn't really go playing out a lot, so literally I just used to sit, listen to music, and I used to try and copy everything Stevie Wonder was doing and Michael Jackson, especially Michael Jackson. Like, I adored Michael Jackson. He was the be all and end all. And then, you know, I moved to a very white area. It was like quite like Emmerdale Farm. It's a village called Selston in Nottinghamshire, and it was brilliant, it's lovely, it's beautiful. So we got out of the city, but then my music taste started to change, and I was listening to a lot more indie music, a lot more Oasis, and you know what I mean, Supergrass, and then eventually I'm listening to Led Zeppelin, and then I'm listening to Jimi Hendrix, and I'm like, okay, and you know, it just keeps going, and you will always find me in a record store looking for new music. That's just what I do. So that was it really. There's that side of things, the listening side of things, and then just kind of as a musician, my own self, I've literally just had to be really. I've just had to persevere. Like, I've had to hustle people. I've had to beg it sometimes. I've had to be daft, you know, like I made a lot of mistakes, and I have also, you can't have any shame. You got to be able to just keep going, and so, yeah, it's difficult, but I'm just happy in my own skin, and the older I get, the more happy I am in my own skin, and so the more I'm able to just keep doing music. For me, I think I have quite a neurotic, egotistical relationship with that kind of question because I really do feel like I'm self-made. I think that if you're self-made, your confidence is stronger. When you're self-made, you can defend yourself better because you did it. But also when you're self-made, like I'm very sensitive and I'm insecure. Do you know what I'm saying? And that happens when you're self-made. Also though, I'm self-made to my disadvantage because sometimes I don't listen to anyone, innit, Maya? You know what I mean? So I adore people that are self-made. All my brethren are self-made, even the ones that have got jobs. Big up yourselves, innit? My main source of inspiration at the moment is like how I'm noticing that everything I'm digesting, every information, I'm trying to like digest it and like sieve through it and I want to make a comment on how I perceive life at the moment. And so I'm noticing that every film I'm watching, every news article, whatever, I'm just like trying to store the information. So I'm quite inspired by current affairs, current events at the moment. I'm also very inspired by like recordings I haven't heard before, music I haven't heard before. Like also like the really kind of the stuff that people overlooked. There's some sick recordings and you're like, oh. I've been listening to a lot of like really folky acoustic guitar, like, you know what I mean? All that stuff. So I'm quite vibed up. I really just want to do acoustic, kind of stripped down vibe, yeah. So that's what I'm on. I got given this advice once by a guy called Davy Graham, and he died a couple of years later. Old white guy from London. He invented a guitar tuning that is very famous called Dadgad. And he saw me play in the Green Note in Camden. And he came up to me afterwards, and the night was named after him. It was named after his album. And he came up to me and he was like, listen, you'll just make sure you sing the right songs. Like, pick them wisely. Even if you was just to sing like church songs, but just don't waste your voice because you're vital. And I was like, oh, that's a bit deep. Turn people onto God or something, that's what he said. He was drunk, don't get me wrong, but it just hit me. And someone come up to me and said, you're vital. It's just mad when someone says that. So that just stuck with me, and now I say it to people, whether they're musicians or not. But yeah, just instilled something. Made sure it means something was what I got from that. To put the substance first is always my advice, but I have some brethren that aren't really fussed with that. I've noticed in the creative industry more now, it's more about you know, stacking and you know what I'm saying, and I just think, in my experience, put the love first. I promise you, if you put the love first, everything else comes. Because by putting the love first, if you find a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, you haven't got the finance that you thought you'd have, but the love's still there, what are you going to be angry about? People are around you that's still around you, blah, blah, blah. Love won't turn that off, but money will, so try and just put the love first, man. If I was to describe my personal style and influence, right, my style is an NFA. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Is that no fucking about? That's it. I'm not like that crazy about. I love to test, you know, like, I don't comb my hair. I don't like, there's loads of things I don't do because I do like the dynamic. It helps me judge someone if someone judges me. So I, you know, but I really just focus on vibe and energy, and I'm not ashamed to like make a fool of myself. And I think that can show in the music sometimes, and when I'm on stage, like, I'm not scared. I can get onto anyone's level. like, you know, and even when I'm being like obnoxious or whatever, like I still do it with a bit tongue-in-cheek or whatever. I try not to take myself too seriously. Also with the music, I try and be eclectic. I don't like being boxed in, especially being mixed race in this country. People just think that you're due to be just doing reggae, so, you know, I like to mix it up, you know what I'm saying? So, especially right now in the musical landscape in London, it's very kind of drill centric. It's very, we need to start seeing more people that look like me doing different things. I really believe it. It's not just about being a bad man, you get me? The artist, yeah, that I'm banging right now is Thames, yo, from Nigeria. She's got a track called Free Mind, and it hit me, you know, it's, because also with me, because I'm a bit older than everyone now, so sometimes I'm like hearing these young artists and I'm like, you know, come back to me in 10 years, you know what I'm saying? But this girl, man, her lyrics are sick, her voice is crazy, the way she uses her voice in her songwriting, really impressed by. So yeah, she knocked my block off. I've got one more guy as well I've dug up from like the early 70s called Ted Lucas. He used to play guitar in the Motown crew. You know, they had guys passing through, and he recorded an album that no one ever heard, and I just heard this album, so yeah, it's crazy. I think the funniest, I was looking at the camera here, the funniest thing I've seen or heard, well, I've seen some antics in it, but I think being in Ghent at a festival called I Love Techno, and seeing one of our favourite DJs hype the crowd up, jump into the crowd, and then they just basically take his trousers off and his joggers, and, and then he's got to surface up, crowd surf back to the stage, and he's, you know what I mean. So that was quite funny. You might have to inbox me to see who that was though. I would describe the Stookie movement as young. I like the simple designs. I like Luke, he's a good lad, good looking lad. And yeah, man, people are vibes, Maya. And it's the best one. Thank you for having me. So in November, I'm going to be back in America, upstate New York, to record the second album. Every day that's all I think about. I can't wait. I feel like I'm going to go full on muso, and like, I feel like quite geeky with the music at the minute, you know, it's mad. Whereas, you know, 10 years ago, obviously I always loved music, but I like the other side of it as well, like being that, you know, like being cool, like whatever. But now, like, so I'm going to be recording and more guitar lessons. I'm going to carry on being antisocial because it's working. I'm trying to just get better. If I do the work now, and then I can bathe in it later. But I just really want to write that song that is like everyone's going to be singing for years. And if I never write it, at least I've been trying to write it. You know what I'm saying? So, gigs as well. We're trying to get a UK tour for October, November. September. So it's all up in the air. COVID is playing games with everyone, obviously. So, but yeah, just keep your eye on me, innit? I got bare music coming out as well.
What's it?
My album So my new project just dropped as well, which is Ekondeo Inversions. It's a remix of my debut album that came out on Big Crown last year. It's featuring Lee Scratch Perry. It's got Black 4 on there, which is sick. Feedback's been crazy. It's a good place to be. want my legacy to be just people respect the music, and hopefully, you know, I might be a bit of a slept-on artist, but people will be like, oh, songwriting, that's wicked. Oh, the vocals there, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. So yeah, I just hope that people appreciate my craft, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I feel like the current music scene could be a bit more eclectic, a little bit. I think that sometimes a bit narrow-minded as to what the representation should be of each culture, and I think that we could mix it up a bit. I want to see more jazz, blues, soul guys out there. I think that's about it. So you're going to be finding me, you've got to check my music out, you know. You can find me on Bandcamp, Spotify, all them things there. Instagram, I'm on there every day, like a crackhead. And I'm building a tour for the autumn, so check that out. Check out my new project, Ekundeo Inversions, which is on Bandcamp also, where you can get all the merch and my vinyl and everything like that.